Hey everybody, it's your daily report with Angry Tim. This is an article from Steve Burns from the New Trader. So he lists four reasons why the middle class stays broke and while the upper class continues to thrive in this economy. I don't agree with everything he says. Some things are interesting. You probably know a lot about this already, but let me know what you think about some of this. So number one, the paycheck to paycheck trap, stagnant wages versus rising costs. So yeah, that's probably one of the most important ones right now is with the inflation, the cost of everything going up, and people's wages not going up. That's an easy way to not only stay in middle class, but actually drop down from maybe middle class to like lower middle class, or if you're already lower middle class, you could be dropping into poverty level, and upper middle class could be dropping down to middle class. So I mean, we've seen that how shoppers are, trading from Whole Foods and Target, and they're shopping at Walmart, or you know, Walmart shoppers are maybe going to Dollar Tree. So everyone's dropping a level here just simply because wages are not keeping up with inflation. And we see that really badly in housing, how people, they just can't afford anything. Um, so we have a lot of renters out there, and even rent is going up. So it's still cheaper to rent than to buy, but I mean, nothing is really keeping up with wages either way. Um, so what he says is middle class families face a relentless squeeze between stagnant wages and escalating costs, while paychecks have remained relatively flat over recent decades. The prices of essentials continue to climb. So he's saying that paychecks have remained relatively flat over recent decades. So that's what is he saying? Like 20 or 30 years? I guess adjusted for inflation, maybe wages haven't really increased much. I have to look into that some more. But anyway, yeah, number one, I agree. Inflation and wages, that's really hurting a lot of people right now. Number two, he calls it the golden ticket effect. How education and career access shape economic destiny. Um, he says career advancement opportunities often depend heavily on educational background and professional networks, resources wealthy families can access more easily. Okay, yeah, that's true, right? If your network of friends, if you come from a upper middle class or wealthy family, you're going to go to a better school because you live in a better neighborhood, or maybe you're going to a private school. You're going to probably end up going to a good university, and you're going to be surrounded by, other students that are from wealthy families. So your network of friends will be, probably they're lawyers and doctors and attorneys and different things. So your network of friends, you might have a little more opportunity into the workforce or just for advice. So yeah, definitely. Uh, he also says upper class families can afford to send their children to private schools and prestigious colleges, pay for enrichment activities, and support them through unpaid internships that often serve as gateways to high paying careers. Middle class students typically face different choices. They might opt for more affordable educational paths, working through college, or take on substantial student loan debt. Um, that's a big one there, where the parents can support the children through unpaid internships, um, so they can get into a good company where, most people coming straight out of college have loans, they have bills to pay, they can't just, work for free, without support from their family. So yeah, that can definitely help them. But again, is this old thinking? Is this still true today? Let me know what you think about that. I kind of think that may still be there, maybe like in the tech industry, but I think this is kind of ending. We're not going to see much more of this going forward. We're kind of at the very tail end of this type of workplace and school, and um, I think we're going to see a lot of more self-made people versus people looking to be hired. If you have the talent and the drive, I think you can be self-made. You start your own company. You don't have to go out looking for a job. So um, I just think that's the way forward from here. Number three, breaking the cycle. Why assets matter more than income. The fundamental difference between middle class and upper class wealth often lies not in salary, but in asset ownership. Very true. Wealthy families typically build fortunes by appreciating assets like real estate, stocks, and business ownership. These assets generate passive income and tend to appreciate over time, creating a self perpetuating cycle of wealth accumulation. So, yeah, that's definitely true. A lot of the wealthy families either have their money in business or real estate or both, and both of those things create cash flow and they do appreciate over time. And, it's something they can pass on to their kids. Whereas if you're a high paid professional, let's say you were a doctor, you can't pass on your doctor degree to your children, right? No matter, what you're a surgeon, whatever kind of doctor you are, you can be the best at it, but you can't pass that on. When you die or when you retire and you stop working, the income stops. But when you have assets like real estate or a business, it no longer matters. The parents could die, they could retire. It doesn't matter. Those assets are still there. The real estate will still be collecting rent. The businesses will still be generating sales, and the building and land that those businesses on, the real estate itself, will also be appreciating. Um, so that's why I'm a big proponent for being self-made, owning your business versus owning a job title. If you're a doctor or lawyer, you cannot pass that down to your kids. So, all your hard work is great. You're going to make, the big salary, big money while you're a doctor or an attorney. But the day you stop working, when you retire or when you die, when you get older, the kids aren't going to keep the money doesn't it's not perpetuating, it ends the day you stop working. So you got to show up and work every day or you don't get paid. And to me that's kind of a waste of life. You study, right? You get your degree, then you just work and then you die, but there's nothing left behind. You spent your whole life just studying and working, but there's nothing left behind. So very good point there. I agree with that one. um, that's a big difference because if you especially if you're not a doctor or lawyer and you're just working a basic, you know average income job, you may not have you may have the house you're in as your real estate, but you may not have other real estate investments. You might not have a small business. You're just working a 9 to 5 job. You're not really building anything. You're just working every day. And the day you stop working, the money stops, and you cannot pass that job on to your kids. So your kids pretty much have to start from zero. There's whatever they want to become. If they want to become a doctor, they'll have to go to school, get the degree, and then work until they retire or until they die, and then that money will stop as well. Versus if you had built I don't know, a real estate portfolio or a small business, that could be passed on, or you can have someone manage it if the kids don't want to manage the apartments or the small business. You could always hire people to do that, but the cash flow will still keep coming in. And also the land and the buildings will, well, not so much the buildings, but the land itself will appreciate in value over time. So you get two things working for you: appreciation and cash flow, where your job is just, again, it's highly taxed and you are not going to be able to pass that down to your kids. He also goes on to say, um, these assets generate passive income and tend to appreciate over time, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of wealth accumulation. Middle class families predominantly rely on earned income, which is subject to higher tax rates than capital gains. When middle class families do invest, they often need to liquidate these investments during financial emergencies, missing out on long-term compound growth. This pattern makes it difficult to build lasting wealth, as their assets remain vulnerable to life's inevitable financial challenges. So, yeah, that's another thing. Um, if you don't have enough cash during bad times, you're going to have to sell whatever assets you have. And unfortunately, for a lot of these people, it's their extra car or pickup. You see a lot of these cars in lower income, I'm sorry, in lower income neighborhoods. They usually have 3 or 4 cars, and maybe only 1 or 2 of them actually run. The rest are like parts cars, and they just kind of hold on to these things like those are their assets. And then when times get tough, they got to sell off, whatever their little toys. They have their the off-road vehicle, their ATVs, their razors. Maybe they have a little boat, kayak, their broken Cadillacs and whatever old classic cars that they were, trying to restore. All of that, what they think are assets, they need to sell off when times are bad, and then they have nothing left. Unfortunately, they didn't have real assets, like property and businesses, but to them, that's what they were able to accumulate. And number four, the knowledge gap. How a lack of how a lack of financial literacy perpetuates wealth inequality. Upper class families typically possess sophisticated financial knowledge passed down through generations and access to professional financial advisors, tax strategists, and estate planners. Their children grown up their children grow up understanding complex financial concepts, investment strategies, and wealth preservation techniques. In contrast, middle class families often lack exposure to advanced financial concepts and may not have the resources to seek professional financial guidance. This knowledge gap leads to missed opportunities and less optimal economic decisions. So, yeah, that's a big one. Knowledge is power, right? Um, but you don't have to be from a wealthy family. I agree that knowledge is power, but I disagree that you have to come from a wealthy family. Luckily, we live in the age where information is king, right? We live in the information age, and we can get the same knowledge that the wealthy people have. We can learn all the secrets. We can learn investment strategies. Um, you know, we don't have to have a rich father or uncle or have to have these tax attorneys as friends to know all the tax advantages, real estate investing, stock investing, starting a business. A lot of that is just it's out there. All the information is out there, so anyone can do it. So, but it is true. Knowledge is power, and unfortunately, people spend. It's how you spend your free time. If you're working a 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week, what are you doing in your evenings? What are you doing on the weekends? There is time available, unless you're working 2 or 3 jobs where you have a night shift after your day job and you're working weekends. But still, there are people who do have that kind of schedule and they're able to find the time to educate themselves. You just got to read a couple of books. There's a lot of books out there. I'm not going to recommend any, but um, one of the first ones I read was, like many people, was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And again, being from Hawaii, reading about this local Japanese Hawaii kid growing up in the plantations and becoming rich and I was interested in business. So I was like, okay, I got to read this and, how did he pull that off? Because everyone's broke in Hawaii. So that was a big eye opener for me. And he kind of thought like I thought. I just didn't really see how school would help me if I wanted to be a business owner one day. I didn't want to be an employee. I wanted to learn how to start and run businesses, and I just didn't see any of the teachers or college professors able to teach me that skill other than just memorizing things out of a textbook. So his whole thing about the kind of go to school, get good grades, kind of thing is what my family nailed into my head. So um, I'm kind of the black sheep because I didn't agree with that, and here I am. I'm the only one that's not employed, right? So anyway, let me know what you think about all this, and have a nice day. Your friend, Angry Tim.